Yes, gang, how are we getting on? So today I'm going to go through 7 weight loss hacks I use with my clients to get them absolutely shredded. So if that is something you are interested in, this video is for you. So the first hack, consistency over perfection. Now, the way we are going to get a physique transformation, losing a lot of fat, is by being consistent over a sustained period of time. There is no point chasing perfection. You are not a bodybuilder. We are normal people with normal jobs. What I say to my clients is whenever we mess up, we cheat on our diet, we miss a workout, let's just get straight back on plan. It is not the end of the world if we cheat on our diet, for example. Now, this is where perfection leads to burnout. We are all about getting a result in the long term. So therefore, we want to be consistent day to day, even if that means it takes a little bit longer to get the result. The main important thing is that we get that result in the end. So the biggest takeaway is chasing consistency, which comes from finding a plan that you can enjoy and you can stick to. So a lot of the time, you guys are thinking, right, I want to lose weight. But in reality, what you want to do is you want to build a physique. You want a physique transformation. You want to get shredded. You want to look like you have muscle on you, right? You don't just want weight loss. So to make sure that when we get to that end goal, we've got a physique that we're happy with, we want to have built muscle. Now, one way that we're going to make sure we maintain/build muscle during this phase is by prioritizing protein. That is not only going to help with satiation, so help manage hunger, help keeping you fuller, which is going to help with you when you're dieting, but it's also going to help you build muscle during this phase so that when we have lost all that weight, we've got a physique that we like. Now, another big thing is having around 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So if you're an 80 kilo male, I'd recommend having around 160 grams of protein. Now, I would also distribute that frequently throughout the day. So aiming for 3-4 meals a day, eating every 3 to 5 hours, so we can spike that muscle protein synthesis multiple times a day, thus maintaining/building as much muscle as possible, but also to help manage hunger throughout the day by eating more frequently with larger eating intervals versus cramming all our meals, either earlier on in the day or later in the evening, where we're going to have large periods of time where we're feeling quite hungry. Then we're more likely to have a snack and things like that, which are going to put us outside of that calorie deficit that we need to make sure we're in to lose fat. Now, some of my go-to protein sources that we want to be having in every meal. Every meal we want to be making sure we're getting some source of protein. So that could come from Greek yogurt, whey protein, chicken breast, lean beef mince, salmon, white fish, tuna. All of these are great protein sources. Now you just want to find some that you enjoy and you can rotate between so you don't get bored of eating the same thing. Also great things like, tuna comes in a can, practical, easy. Same with the whey protein, or just bulk prepping a load of chicken breast, for example, that can set you up for a few days. So you want to prepare in advance your meals and think about meals that you enjoy and practicality. So it might seem obvious, but we need to be in a calorie deficit. But where people go wrong is they put themselves in a really aggressive calorie deficit. We don't want that. We want to be in a slightly moderate calorie deficit. And this links back to consistency. If we're in a slight deficit, it's a lot easier to be consistent with. I'm not going to put us in a really aggressive calorie deficit. Most of my clients, we're starting off at a 200-300 calorie deficit below maintenance. Easy, something that they can stick to, not going to make a huge difference. I'm not going to go from eating at maintenance, feeling fine, to big 500-600 calorie deficit where they're going to start feeling hungry instantly. Again, this is just more sustainable, so we can stick to this for a longer period of time. Also, if we've got a slight deficit, we're still going to have lots of energy, so we're going to be able to train hard, build muscle, whereas if we put ourselves in a big low calorie deficit, we're going to reach that burnout pretty quick, but also training performance is going to go down the bin. So we're going to start getting weaker, more likely to lose muscle as well, the greater the calorie deficit, because we're going to be tapping into our muscle to get that energy versus tapping into our fat reserves. This is one of the biggest things. As to a lot of clients come to me saying before, right, I've dieted before, but I felt like I just got really, really weak really quick. And then they just gave up on the diet because they didn't feel great. And then they started feeling really weak and felt that skinny phase, right? So a big thing is just putting you in a slight deficit. The aim is to build strength during this process while losing weight so that we know we're going to be building muscle. And again, it's just going to lead to a better end physique versus a rapid fat loss from an aggressive deficit. So again, one of the most important things is tracking progress. Now this comes from measuring different variables. People become way too obsessed with scale weight. If they don't see the scales drop, they think they're doing something wrong. At the beginning of a transformation, at the beginning of a fat loss phase, you will see body weight come down quite quickly. Clients expect that to happen every single week. They think they're just going to lose a kilo a week. As you get leaner, the rate of loss is going to slow down a lot. However, this is where physique pictures are so important. At the end of a transformation, a couple of kilo can be the difference between being relatively lean to being absolutely shredded. Whereas at the beginning, you're gonna find you can take weight off quite easily, but sometimes the physique doesn't change. So this is why we wanna look at multiple variables when assessing our progress week to week. Also looking at things like measurements, right? Our clothes feeling looser. If maybe our body weight it isn't changing as much as we want, but we're looking leaner in the physique pictures, our measurements are coming down, then does our body weight really matter as much as we think? Also similar with strength, right? If we're getting stronger week on week on week, physique is looking better and better, measurements coming down, but body weight isn't dropping, I'm not too phased. Similar to the fact that if we're dieting and we're losing weight quite quickly and strength's coming down really quickly, then we probably put ourselves in a bit too much of an aggressive deficit. The goal during a diet is to maintain as much strength as possible if we want to maintain as much muscle as possible during this phase. Similar to what I said earlier, we are chasing weight loss, but most of the time we're actually chasing a physique that we want, and most of the time these individuals of people we look up to have a lot of muscle mass. How do we build muscle? Well, we've got to be lifting weights. So that is what is going to build your physique at the end of the day once you've lost all that weight. But also you want to build as much muscle as possible so that you're more metabolically active. Muscle requires more energy than fat, right? So if we've got a muscular physique, we're going to be able to eat more calories day to day to maintain our weight versus losing all that weight and having no muscle there. Well, the metabolic demand on the body is going to be a lot less than if we've built a good foundation with regards to muscle. And that doesn't have to be meaning you're training hours in the gym. It can be as simple as 3 full body sessions a week. That is all that's required. People often overestimate the amount of work needed to build muscle. If you're going into the gym, again, most of the guys on my page are training 3 to 4 times a week, 1 hour sessions. And as you can see from the results, that's all you really need to build a lot of muscle and really change your physique. So one of the biggest hacks that people don't realize is prioritizing sleep and hydration. So we want to make sure we're getting 3 liters of water in every single day. That is not only going to help manage hunger, but it's also going to allow us to perform better in the gym, which is going to burn more calories, also build more muscle. Now we want to prioritize getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day. That is going to help manage our hunger hormones firstly, so we're way less likely to binge and eat off plan. But secondly, it's going to mean we're going to be going into our sessions with a lot more energy. Thus, if we've got more energy and going into our sessions, we're going to be able to train harder again, build more muscle, again, burn more calories, help putting us in a greater deficit, thus losing weight. Also, if we've had better sleep, we're going to be able to get more output with our cardio, so we're going to be burning more calories again. So lastly, number 7, we want to manage stress and enjoy the journey. So when we're stressed, we've got higher cortisol levels, thus we're more likely to hold on to body fat. So we want to bring that stress down doing things like meditation, reading, journaling, whatever it may be, whatever you enjoy doing, just to bring that stress down. Again, if we're less stressed, we're going to be having more energy for the gym, enjoying the process, more likely to stick to the diet. So that's another big thing of just enjoying the process, enjoying the journey. So if we can enjoy something, we're going to be consistent with it. And if we're consistent with it, then we know it's sustainable long term. And if it's sustainable, then we know we're going to get long-term results because it's a matter of time. There's nothing unique about yourself. If you put yourself in a calorie deficit for a sustained period of time, you are going to lose body fat, lose weight, which is the end goal at the end of the day. That's why we're watching this video, right? So the main takeaway is finding a plan that you can consistently stick to week on week, putting yourself in a calorie deficit. As long as we're losing weight each week, it's just a matter of time before we're shredded, as long as we're implementing weight training and building the physique. And at the end of the day, right, this is a lifestyle change. If you want to take the fat off, but keep the fat off, you have to enjoy the process. Once we've taken the body fat off, it's about reversing out of the diet and holding that physique, not having a horrible rebound. This is the hardest diet you're gonna do. Once you've done this diet and you've taken all the body fat off, that's where the fun begins. And that's where you see all the clients on my page reversing out, eating 3,000-4,000 calories a day, maintaining lean athletic physiques, going on holiday feeling good with their top off, never always being 4 or 5 weeks away from being shredded out of their head. That is the dream goal. But first you've got to put the work in, first you've got to take all the body fat off, and that's where these hacks are going to come into play. So if you're looking to get shredded and you're looking and trying to lose weight, but maybe you're not seeing the results that you want to see, then do not hesitate to reach out. As you can see from the results on my page, these people are just like you. The only difference between them and you is that they took action and stuck to the plan. And the way they did that is because, again, we found a plan that they enjoyed and they could consistently stick to, which led to sustainability and got them long-term results. If you're interested in achieving that, either drop me a message on Instagram, Oisin Waddington, or fill in the form in my bio.